All right, so good evening, good morning, depending on where you are watching this video. So this is my third video. After this video, I'll just say this is another video with my canine companion here, Dogo Argentino, Poppy. He's probably not going to do much with him today because this video I wanted to do on just be an informative video, and then I'll point out to a few things that I'm working with him. I just got a as you can see, this is electronic collar. Make sure you guys call it electronic collar. Don't call it a shock collar. Because the reason being, there are Karens in the world. And I'll tell you, it's another story I'll tell you about in a little bit. But because it's not the only function, right? So we have the Poppy. Oh, he's doing his thing. We shouldn't interrupt him. We have the tone function. Then we have the vibration function. And of course, if you want to give a correction, you have then the shock. And you know, there's a whole degree of settings. You know, you don't have to you know, make him seem like he's in an electric chair or something like that. You just give it just a little shock, a little stimulus, okay? But in any case, I was thinking, I got my bag with me. I'll clean that up after. But so I wanted this to be an informative video, and I mentioned in one of my videos I was going to discuss about emotional support dog, ESD, a service dog, and then we have a psychiatric service dog, and the differences and the similarities. I also mentioned I'm already started training him to be my service dog, okay? The first service or task he's going to be trained for is DBT, which is deep pressure therapy, and we use that for calming. So I've had PTSD, generalized anxiety, panic attacks ever since I came out of the military, and so this is a service that they're trained to help quell this, to help mitigate this, okay? But going into the most three common, or the only three that I know of, okay, is that, and I said this in one of my videos, I just think the whole, I don't know, there's a lot of BS, okay, you know, a lot of fraud, especially in the service dogs. And the reason being is that, okay, so let's take an emotional support dog. Okay, great. At one time when they first came out with that, whoever coined that term, and they labeled it for dogs to assist people with, I don't know, feeling better maybe, you know, they were allowed on planes, they were allowed in, you know, just like service dogs, they're allowed in restaurants everywhere, okay, and without restriction. But they were never, that was never supported by the ADA, which is the American Disabilities Act. And if you look at it, it's like, okay, emotional support dog. It's proven. They've done clinical trials with, you know, with dogs, pets in general, just not dogs, right? That they've done longitude studies that it increases your life, lowers your blood pressure, your vitals, your stress. I mean, yeah, they add to the quality of your life. And they say, you know, it can increase your life by 3, 5, I think up to 7 years, okay? Having a dog, or maybe just a pet. I don't know if it's just a dog. So that's great, okay? But that doesn't make him a service dog, okay? Back in the day, I don't know if like you, okay, when someone said they had a service dog, or that person had a service dog, automatically what came to mind is they had a CNI dog, right? They were blind, and they had a dog to help them to be mobile, to, you know, for their mobility, to be able to, I gotta watch them all the time, to watch, you know, to help them walk around without bumping into things, right? And he likes to dig his hole, so once in a while, I'm just gonna check on him. And I also check on the time because I like to make these videos about 15 minutes. Okay. So again, back in the day, service dog, at least for me, I don't know for you as well, I thought of a blind person, right? Then later on, I heard about people who had seizures, right? And they would help, and I believe they did the DPT with them, and also bringing them medication, right? They were trained for those services. So that to me was a service dog. Okay. Then you have a psychiatric service dog. So what that is, so same thing as a service dog, as long as you meet those criteria, okay? And I'm going to get into the criteria in just a second. So a psychiatric service dog would be someone that has been diagnosed with a debilitating psychiatric disorder, or mental disorder, you can say, okay? So again, any type of anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder is an umbrella. You know, generalized anxiety falls under that. you have a diagnosis, okay? And then what you need, okay, is two things. One from either a professional being a psychiatric doctor, counselor, or a social worker. And then what he needs to do is he needs to give you, it's not a prescription, but it would be what they call a recommendation, okay? And then you would have that dated prior to having your dog, okay? And then once you would get your dog, then your dog has to be proficient, has to be trained, and at least one service, okay? So in my case, I have my recommendation, okay? And my dog's trained, probably is being trained as we speak, but he's probably 60%, 70% proficient at it, at doing the pressure therapy. And then that satisfies the requirements, the federal requirements under ADA, that you have a service dog, okay? So what's interesting, and why I said there's a lot of fraud in it, is that you see these people walking around, going into buildings, well rather, businesses, and out in the public, okay, with their dogs. And they have their dogs with vests that says service dog, says do not touch, has all the patches, whatever. And these, you can buy this off Amazon or wherever, okay? Anyone can buy it, okay? Put it on your dog. Doesn't make them a service dog, okay? But people are doing that, okay? And then what cracks me up sometimes, I'll see a service dog. They'll be in a in the shopping cart, being pushed around by their hand, by the owner. And that's not a service dog. That's the master dog. You're the service human in that case. So that's ridiculous. So the two main criteria or requirements to satisfy having a service dog is that you have to have that, recommendation, that I support. You can write, it's a just really brief letter. You can look them up. There's templates for them that, I've been treating so-and-so. I am a social worker or a counselor. I've been treating so-and-so for this, for so much, since this date, for this life, a condition that's going to exist all of his life, okay, his life, and I support him having a service dog. I recommend that he has a service dog, okay, to mitigate his symptoms, okay. That's it. Then take that, make copies of it, scan it, make a PDF so you can have it in your phone, put one in a, I don't know, in the bank safety deposit box, I don't know. Just keep one, where you can get to it. In a certain case scenario, which I'll get to, okay. So when you have that, your dog's trained in one service, okay? Boom, there you go, you're protected. Now you can bring that dog wherever, Walmart, you can bring him on the plane with you, okay? Yeah, and of course they tell you can't, you have it, you video it, you tape it. Well, I mean, that's a big violation, you got a class action civil suit there, okay? Okay, well, we don't want that to happen, it's all checking on Poppy again, get along, right? So people have these vests, people nowadays, there's even, they'll say, oh, registered service dog. Listen, there's no such thing, okay? There's not a federal database that registers, keep tracks of these service dogs, okay? All those registration, online registrations that provide you ID cards and all these, the gear, the vest, or whatever, the leashes, whatever, cards to hand out, they're just private organizations that, again, it's a bunch of BS. There's one of them that I kind of support. The reason being is that they actually have a database. Okay, so if someone was to call an airline or something, they'll verify that, yeah, your dog is registered. But again, this is what it takes to register. You find out, you fill out the form online, and you're just swearing to testing that, yeah, he's a service dog, yeah, I have this condition, because they can't take your paperwork, because of HIPAA laws, privacy laws, okay? And you just attest to it and you sign it, and boom, they send you your service dog badge or whatever, and you have a service dog, but it's not a service dog. So let's get into a scenario now. See, for example, down in Florida, okay, there are statutes that make it a fraud, okay, a crime, a misdemeanor, if you put your dog off as being a service dog, and it's really not, but someone would have to call you out on it. They would have to call the authorities, they'd file a report, make a determination, whatever, summons you, it's a misdemeanor, whatever, and you go into court. So at that time in court, what you'd have to do is you have to show that documentation, okay? Here's my recommendation, okay, from my counselor, whatever, doctor, whatever, and then I would think you demonstrate, here's the task, this is what helps me with, okay? And then case dismissed, okay? So again, that's why there's a lot of fraud. So there is a charge, you know, if you think you're gonna put this dog, but I've never seen it, never heard of it, anyone being charged with it. They should, because it's unfortunate, right? Because too many people are committing fraud with these service dogs. Now, so with that in mind, there is no registration, no federal database, okay? And there's no requirement saying, mandating that I have to have in the vest that says service dog, or have an ID that says service dog. So imagine this now, okay? Poppy, oh, sorry, you guys, I gotta get him to do something because, you know, he looked at it. Poppy, come. Good boy, come. Stay, sit. Yeah, sounds well. Boy, I know I got your attention, so I had to give you a treat. Look, I dropped it. No, you don't want that one? Get that one extra one. Good boy. Free? Yep. So, imagine, so Poppy's, speaking of Poppy, Poppy's 6 months. And I said, hey, he's getting big, you know. I'm impressed by his stature. So I went to Petco and I said, I want to weigh him. I said, he's starting to get thick, putting on some weight. So I looked up the statistics, you know, on the weight of a male dogo at 6 months, right? And if I remember right, I believe it was between 58 and 66 pounds, right? So I said, okay. So mind you, I got him from, his father was a large male, 120, and his mother was like maybe 95 or something. So they were big dogs, okay? So, and then Poppy was the largest one out of a litter of like 12, okay? So I said to myself, I knew I was gonna have a big dog. So just real quick, I went to Petco, got him on the scale, and Poppy here, yeah, Poppy weighs 75 pounds. He's a beast. So he's outside the upper quartile, like the range of the, you know, the high end of a male dogo at his age, okay? So in the statistics, we call that an outlier. So Poppy is going to be a beast, probably like 130. He was inline bred too, so if you're not familiar like that. So basically, you know, you can inline and you can do largest male, the largest female, say like cousins, and then you take the largest, you know, female, and then a male from a say distant third cousin. You keep breeding the largest ones, right, for like 3 or 4 generations. And if you want to, you know, upsize, you know, get a bigger dog, huh, buddy? But that's not the breed standard. But whatever the case is, you know, totally happy with him because apart from having the largest dogo that I wanted the most prey driven, and I got that, and we'll get into that too. So back to the service dog stuff. So imagine Poppy at, you know, maybe a year and a half, maximum weight, maybe he's 125, 130, whatever. I'm walking into Walmart. I could just have his collar on or a choke chain or what have you, and walk right in there, because he's still my service dog. Now imagine the eyebrows is, you know, that's going to raise. You know, I'm sure someone will, you know, come up to me like, sir, you know, you can't bring your dog in here. And of course at that point, I got to say, well, no, he's my service dog, you know, because that's all I have to say. And they can ask me one question in return, right? Because I already identified him as service dog, is that he is what he's trained for, okay? And if they were to say, well, he wears his vest, wears it, that, you don't need it. He doesn't have to have it. And if they discriminate, you know, you know, against me based on that, you know, again, it could be a problem for them, okay? So I hope I was I pretty much cleared up some of the you know, some of the uncertainties about having emotional support versus, you know, a service dog and then a psychiatric service dog. And again, Poppy's going to be my psychiatric service dog, and he's going to be my protection dog. Ain't that right, Poppy? You're going to be a jack of all trades. That's what I consider him, you know, that old saying, jack of all trades, master of none, right? You know, interesting, I think that was Green. He wrote that in his book of idioms, and that was directed, you know, that was about Shakespeare. Because Shakespeare was known to be that guy. He would, you know, make the stage for his plays. He would, you know, do the writings for the acts. He would act in them. Like, he did everything, you know. And the end of that saying is interesting, is a jack of all trades, master of none, right? Is often greater than a master of one, right? So what it's saying, even if you can master one skill so, I mean, just unbelievable, you kind of limit yourself in life still, you know? It's just because you focus all your energy in that one thing, and then you really was obscured to all the other things in life, you know? And whatever the case may be, later, I think this evening, I'm going to do another video because I want to start developing more and more content. Again, I'm looking at the time, trying to keep this between 15 20. I want to develop again more and more content. And I had someone post some questions, but they posted to the where I post my videos in Dogo Argentino groups in Facebook. So the question was how to go about training a deaf Dogo Argentino, because that's something you'll see a lot with bilateral deafness or blindness, and I'll get into the reason for that. But whatever the case is, so you have to be very creative. I never had to train a deaf dog. Okay, I don't have experience, but just going by, you know, the theories and constructs and concepts that I do know very well, and being an out-of-the-box thinker, very unorthodox thinker, I had already come up with some suggestions for, I believe her name was Karen. If that's you, if I said the wrong name, my apologies. So I'm going to do a video a little after with that, and probably going to do some training with him here off video. If you notice his collar, I just realized his collar has the orange in it with a cone, so that's great. So again, it's a electronic collar. Don't call it a shock collar, because you're going to have some Karens out there being like, oh my God, you're an abuser, you're da-da-da-da. It's like, are you serious? You know, I found out, I'm not going to talk bad about my mother, but my mother's somewhat of a Karen. The second video that I did, when I used a choker to make a quick correction because he was digging up the hole, I get this message on my phone from my mother saying, I'm so offended and da-da-da by you, I can't believe you da-da-da, use that on on your dog. You know, I should have bought a choke on you when you misbehaved when you were younger. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? You know, what's the scripture in Proverbs? It says, spare the rod, spoil the child. Listen, it's no difference with a dog. There's a fine line between abusing a dog and correcting or disciplining a dog, okay? And I'm going to get into that another time too. Because, yeah, you don't want to, again, discipline your dog. You want to discipline your dog. You don't want to abuse your dog, right? You can break their spirit. You can cause a lot of different, you know, harms that would go against what you're trying to do, you know, being productive and training them, you know. We'll get him over here. He's trying to dig his way out. Let me just do the tone first. Poppy, come. Okay, Dad. Oh, you gonna run to Daddy? Stay, sit. Sit. Oh, you are a good boy. Were you digging down there? Were you digging? Ow, whoa. And here's another thing. See, when I give him a treat, if you want him to slow down, right, you tell him easy. But the pace you give it to him at is a piece. You see, he changes his pace that he goes to grab it. If you go to give him fast, he's going to go fast. So watch this. Poppy. Easy, 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 easy. You see how he did gentle? Gentle. But if I were to go in fast with it, he's going to go in fast. So that's a way to teach that word easy, you know, or slow, whatever word you want to assign to that right there. Okay, I think that about wraps it up. Again, I'm new at this, but, you know, please thumbs up, subscribe. And any questions, comments, please make it down in the comment section on this YouTube channel right here. Anything you'd like to see. Man, I got a flip pole with me, but again, we're going to do another video. Maybe I'll do 2 more today to make up for a couple of days I missed. Whatever the case is, thanks for watching. And again, if I can be of any assistance to you and help you with training your dog in a certain aspect, certain area, please, again, ask in the comment sections, and I will do my best to help you out. Awesome.